Okay, right. So I guess we'll just wait a couple of minutes and let everybody get into the room before we make a formal start. But whilst we're doing that, how's your day been, Adam? All right.
Good, thank you, Hugh. Yeah, very good. Just busy talking to people, talking to some customers about what they're doing next year with HubSpot, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's certainly a funny time of year, isn't it?
It is a bit, yeah. Obviously, we've got the Grow event in London next week, which you and I are going to, so getting ready for that.
Yeah, definitely. For anybody that is attending, please let us know if you are going to HubSpot's London Grow event on Tuesday. Myself, Adam, and another one of our colleagues, Soraya, will all be there. We're just giving it another minute or so, just letting everybody finish off their probably 2:30 to 3 o'clock calls and get settled so that they can drop into the webinar. But yeah, who's speaking? I forgot who's speaking at the Grow event. Is it Karen Brady?
Karen Brady, and that's about it as far as the ones that I remember.
yeah. I'm sure they'll have a few HubSpot specialists talking.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of work recently on the Service Hub piece with HubSpot. I
Okay.
had a brilliant demo this morning by one of their product specialists, the Service Hub, girl called Molly. She was brilliant, really, really good. So I think they're doing a massive push on the Service Hub piece at the moment. But today we're going to be talking about something totally different. We're going to be talking about actually how you can make the business case for investing into HubSpot. So do appreciate everybody who's joined today. And more people will filter through, and this is being recorded. So I'm sure we'll be able to share this session in a follow-up. But yeah, thank you all for joining today. Just a very quick introduction to who's going to be speaking today. So I'm Hugh. I'm the head of sales here at BBD Boom. So I've been at the organization now for just over 12 months, but I've been part of the HubSpot partner world now for closing in on 5 years. So really, this topic that we're talking about today is pretty much my day-to-day. We're constantly supporting organizations in terms of how they can build the case internally for investing into not just HubSpot, but actually software and CRM-based solutions. I'm really delighted that I could be joined today by Adam. But Adam, I'll let you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I founded Boom 7 years ago, and yeah, rather like you, spend a lot of my time talking to people about why they should invest in HubSpot and what they're going to get from it. And certainly when I think about Boom, obviously we would invest in HubSpot because we're HubSpot elite partners. But I would say that some of the things we're going to talk about today, we've definitely seen those benefits for the business. We've been able to do things and achieve things that if we didn't have this tech stack with us, we would be a long way behind, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess just before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. If you do have any questions, please do filter them into the chat pane throughout. I'll be monitoring them, and we'll make sure that we answer them either as we're going through if we've got time, or we'll definitely do it towards the end of today's webinar as well. We have 25 minutes or so to complete this, so there's probably enough for us to keep us busy. But I'd be very interested in just a question to everybody that's out there today. Is anybody on this journey at the moment? Are you looking to invest more into your existing HubSpot platform, or are you in the mode of actually we're considering a new CRM system or a HubSpot as a solution? And if so, I'd be really keen to understand what are some of the key battles or challenges that you've had to consider to get that buy-in internally. So that'd be great to really understand. So today, in terms of the agenda, what we're going to go through is really how to prove the value of HubSpot. And like I said, there's two clear distinctions. You have organizations who are net new to the software. So for example, you're either migrating from other CRM platforms such as Salesforce or Pipedrive, or even you're moving from a spreadsheet-based model and looking to mature sort of your CRM systems. Or you might be an existing HubSpot customer, and you might be looking to invest further into the platform. And again, that has multiple different legs. You might be a Sales Hub user right now, and you might be considering the Marketing Hub, for example. Or you might have the Marketing and Sales Hub, but looking to consider the Service Hub. Additionally, HubSpot has so many product updates that it's hard even for us as an agency partner to keep up to date with. So you might be thinking, well, how do I invest further into these new features of the platform as well? So that's what we're going to be discussing today, is how you can prove that value of HubSpot. We'll then talk around some of the common objections that we get in that sales process as well, and how we help organizations really start to ask the right questions internally. And then at the end, like I said, we'll have that Q&A, and there is a free guide that Steph, our marketing manager, has put together. So please do grab that copy of that, because it is really beneficial. But firstly, I'd love to just talk you around that first piece, that how to prove the value of HubSpot for new and existing users. And Adam, I'd like to ask you the question here in terms of how do we showcase the value of the system?
So yeah, I mean, look, HubSpot, like any CRM, is a big investment. So although HubSpot has, entry level pricing with starter packages and things like that, generally speaking, our clients are spending tens of thousands a year on the licenses. It's a lot of money. So we need to be sure that that is generating some sort of return. And because every business is different, those returns will be different, and the value that you get will be different. But I know it's a big thing that people need to know, because what we're finding in the economic climate is a decision will be made that we need a CRM, and it's a great idea and it's going to have all these benefits. Then it goes up the chain to the CFO and the CEO, and generally they say, yeah, great. But sometimes they say no. And I think, why have they said no? Because everybody in their team thinks it's a great idea, but perhaps they haven't articulated the benefits. And I think when we go through it here, I think ultimately it's about talking about how HubSpot can make you money or save you money, because at the end of the day, that's what businesses are trying to do. So we have to catch it in those terms. How is it going to make money? How is it going to save money?
So when you talk around making money, give us some examples of what that can look like, because I guess from somebody that's coming from a non-CRM world, they might think, well, look, I follow a specific sales process. I go through all of these different skill points. What's the benefit of me having this CRM? So how is it going to help an organization make more money, for an example?
So I think one of the first things I always talk about making money is because what we're trying to achieve with HubSpot is a single source of truth. So lots of times we're speaking to people whose source of truth is in a spreadsheet there, an old CRM there, an email marketing system there, and all the rest of it. It's all over the place. They don't actually know who their customers are right now, or when they did something recently, or when's a good time to engage with them, or what's the performance of a certain marketing channel, because the marketing system doesn't talk to the CRM system. They're kind of like blind. And then often we see people, trying to sell to somebody who's quit as a customer or as an unhappy customer, and all of those things. I mean, you're not going to make money. So we need to have a single source of truth where the database is unified. We get a 360-degree view of what everybody is doing on there. And that gives us opportunities. The classic ones that make money are upsells and cross-sells, right? So knowing that they hadn't bought something from us in the last 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and now, we really should be introducing them to this new product that we've got. Knowing that their usage of our service or our system has dropped off, and we need to reinvigorate them so that they don't churn or they renew with us. Those sorts of things require a single source of truth, and they are going to generate money. Cross-sells, upsells, renewals. Those are however you talk about it in terms of your business, those are critical things that you need to do and you need to have a handle on. When it comes to sort of practical applications of that, because HubSpot sees itself as a CRM in the middle, and then it has marketing tools and sales tools and customer success tools, we're able to join a lot of these processes up and a lot of this stuff up. So, for example, getting notifications or getting automations to send out emails to people who we tried to close as a customer a year ago, and going back to them and talking to them again. So those close lost things. Following up or reaching out to people in your CRM because they are demonstrating intent. They're engaging in your content. They've been on your website. They're looking at things. They're attending webinars, those sorts of things. You can't possibly know that unless you have a single source of truth. And so knowing that somebody's high intent means through lead scoring and things like that. That means you can now reach out to them. You can send the sales guys after it. You can put them into a nurture sequence. You can increase your probability and the ability for you to sell more to them and to spot opportunities. And you can only really do that when you've got a single source of truth. So that's very much about making money. But one funny example I had when I was talking to a prospect was, I said to you, okay, you're ready to buy HubSpot. What has been the thing that's made you want to buy HubSpot? And they said the thing was that I got a sales opportunity and I drove all the way up to Leeds from Watford, I think it was, got in his car, drove there, arrived, really ready for his big pitch. He knew he was going to meet loads of decision makers. So he got out, very excited, all prepared, suited and booted. And he said, blah, 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 got to the building, got shown into a room. He opened the door and there was his colleague pitching to all these people. And that's because he also got the same lead. And because they weren't on one system, he didn't know that his colleague was also following that opportunity. And not only was that a huge waste of time, it was actually quite embarrassing. And it showed that they weren't really on top of their own prospect data and their customer data. So yeah, I think single source of truth.
In that example there that you've given, that's a very simplistic feature of something like HubSpot that a lot of CRMs can do. And one thing that I think is, as us, we live and breathe HubSpot on a day-to-day basis. So that comes as second nature, as does lead scoring, as does tools such as like the sequencing tool, etc., and lead nurturing and automation. All of that is second nature to us. Let's talk around like a different side. So an organization is coming in, they're working off spreadsheets at the moment. They've got no idea what the art of possible is. So therefore, when they're looking at, they get the point of that single source of truth, how it can make them make better data-driven decisions. But at what point does the light switch for them to say, well, this is going to be a game changer for our organization? Is it more there's specific features because it adapts to their organization, or is it more they don't know what they don't know until they start evaluating other CRM systems?
Yeah, I think there's two parts there. I think the data structure is really critical, right? So having things in a spreadsheet or having things in a CRM that you don't like using means you just can't access the data. You just can't access a list that says, who should I ring up, follow up on the people that attended our event, or who are the people that we haven't sold to for 6 months. Like, you just can't actually access the data. And so sometimes when you show people this is how easy it is to segment the data and get reports, and that's a light bulb moment for them. And then I think other things around the features of HubSpot, when they realize that they can automatically follow up through marketing when someone attends a webinar, and that just saves loads and loads of time and engages that person in a much more effective way. They're like, oh, right, really? So I think features like automation, that they often really blow people's minds about how much efficiency that can bring. And actually, Hugh, that does bring me on to another sort of key thing that I often talk about is the saving money side of this. So I often speak to companies who are trying to be more efficient with what they've got. So trying to be more effective at what they've got. And so I think HubSpot can eliminate a lot of manual work, and that can save people money. So classically with the CRM, the fact that we can send emails from our Gmail or our Outlook and it gets logged into HubSpot, it can remind you to do things. It can enrich data. So if there's data that's missing, rather than the sales rep go off and try and find that on LinkedIn and the rest of it, it just gets updated. These are things that take away the admin for salespeople. It frees them up, as does automated follow-up emails. They put people in a sequence to follow, they don't have to then go back and write another email, remember to write the email. And Hugh, that's before we even start talking about AI, isn't it? Because the Breeze product launch that we had at Inbound takes it to a whole new level of efficiency that can be deployed by salespeople. And so all of this stuff it has the ability to reduce effort and time. And I remember I was speaking to one of our clients, Roxhill, and after we'd done an implementation for those guys, the sales director literally counted it all up, and he said, our sales team is saving 15% of their admin time. They're reducing the amount of time by 15% every week they're doing admin. And he said that basically is like nearly half a day a week that we've won.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with half a day? You do more prospecting, you do better outreach, you do more quality proposals. And
Yeah.
so that's another really powerful argument that we're going to free those salespeople and those marketing people up to do better work.
Yeah, I think, we've not even touched on that AI piece, but then with AI, that is only going to contribute to that saving time, eliminating manual work, and helping you become smarter around your processes, which again comes into your first point, which was actually increasing revenue and increasing sales that can potentially come through the organization as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned, and I'm conscious we've gone 1 and 3 here and the points, but you mentioned earlier around a lot of organizations that you speak to, they might have a spreadsheet here, they might have an email marketing system over here, they might have something else for service here. Talk me through this simplifying the tech stack and why that can be beneficial for customers, why that is a value of HubSpot in itself.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody thinking about investing in HubSpot, one of the first things you should do is add up how much money you're spending on all your tech stack tools to begin with, right? And I'll tell you why, because HubSpot's like a Swiss Army knife. It can just do so many things, and even people that have been using HubSpot for a while, they don't realize that, right? So I'll be saying to a marketing team, are you spending money on a landing page builder? And they go, yeah, okay, right, add that in. Do you have an ABM marketing tool? Yeah, that's quite expensive. Yeah, got that. Are you using SEO tools? Yeah, the SEO tools. Are you using a social scheduling tool? Yeah, we're doing that. Are you using MailChimp and other email tools? Yeah. We don't need those anymore. So first thing we need to do is add up all of that, right? And for some customers, we found that the cost of ditching all of that is equal to the license costs for Marketing Pro. So actually, it's not costing you any more money, but you're getting all this integrated single source of truth and much more powerful tools. So that's one way I would start the conversation. You're simplifying the tech stack, which has lots of benefits for efficiency because you're only going to one place, but it could save you money or be a net neutral cost. The other thing about tech stack as well, because you're bringing them into one place, HubSpot is just known for being a lot easier to use. So I've worked with customers who are spending, they've got Salesforce and they're spending like 160,000 a year on it, right? And they're spending 80 grand a year, every year on doing stuff to it, admin stuff, changing things, customizing. That's like 50% of their license costs on managing the system. And that is just insane. And they realized that was insane. So when they were thinking about moving away, they were saying, well, I've got 160K there for the license, but it's actually another 80 on top of that I need to factor into this. So HubSpot and in the implementation is going to come in at a fraction of the price. It's a no-brainer. It's actually saving us money by simplifying the tech stack.
So actually, when you consider proving the value of HubSpot, you're not considering what the license cost is. You're also considering what does it look like for us to actually expand upon this platform. And whether there are additional costs with that, i.e. either with an agency or whether ongoing. I think that's a really good point. In my world, we come against Salesforce in a lot of different instances. And one thing that we always say is, what's the total cost of ownership? Yeah. And one thing that you do get with HubSpot, which I think is a massive value, is you, as part of your license fee, you get 24/7 tech support.
Yeah.
And I saw you post recently, Adam, on LinkedIn saying, how this is still such an incredible thing that they do offer that, because, you look at Salesforce, they do have a version of it, but it's very much a knowledge base. That is what their free ongoing service is. So apart from that, you have to have a paid for service. So I think that is a huge thing that probably isn't tabled quite a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's often with Salesforce and the others, it's an extra service you've got to pay for.
Yeah. And whilst we're on that, because we'll have customers and we'll have people listening as well, and they'll be talking around Okay, we've invested into HubSpot as a marketing platform. We still have HubSpot as our Salesforce. We still have Salesforce as our CRM and as our sales tool. We've got the connection in between, but we have got huge value out of the marketing platform. What do we do now? How do they build the case? How do they understand, is HubSpot right for their sales team, etc.? So how do you table those conversations? How do they go?
Well, I think you've got to start with the idea that they're not happy with Salesforce or the incumbent CRM. So if they're really, really happy with it, HubSpot, especially Salesforce, HubSpot marketing plugs in really well, as we know. So
Yeah.
just keep doing that. But if, which is often the case, people find it too expensive, too costly to run, too slow to do anything, a bit difficult to use, and there is a case for moving, then we can help make that, make that business case, which is you're going to have all this feature set. It's going to be much more deeply integrated into HubSpot, and you're going to use. I think the eliminating manual work and the simplification points would apply then. It's not right for everybody. HubSpot's not right for everybody, and the costs of moving over to HubSpot may not justify it in some cases, and that's absolutely fine. But I think there's a lot of people that could probably ask themselves, well, is it time to move off that platform to something like HubSpot? Because we know it, the UI on the marketing side is great and all the rest of it. And I guess one of those things then relates to the point 4 there, which is data and decision making. Even within the native integration with Salesforce, it's not deeply satisfactory from a reporting point of view. And I think one of the other areas that we would say to the CEO and C-suite that actually surprisingly has high resonance with them, because they are very much looking at reports all the time, is the quality of data. You can have better data for decision making. Better decisions mean better business, presumably mean making more money. So things like, I often speak to people who go, oh yeah, well we've got a BI tool to do all that, and we go, I don't think you need a BI tool to mash up. We're not mashing up the marketing data with the sales data. It's all in one place. We can see that flow between acquisition of leads into the sales process, into customers in HubSpot in whatever way we want to. We don't need third-party tools to do that. And we're going to have this centralized reporting. We're going to be able to look at conversion paths and conversion rates at different places in the journeys, either pre-sale or post-sale, renewals and things like that. It's all in one place. It's just accurate. It's fast to deploy. It's easy to visualize. And we've got one customer in the B2B space who, through using the reports, was able to improve their conversion rate on their sales pipeline by 4%. You think, oh, well, it's not 4%. It's not like 40%, but 4% increase in conversion rates resulted in hundreds of thousands of more sales. Mm-hmm. And so because it's all there, it's all visible, we can see that and we can start doing things. And that's what we're trying to do with our customers when we onboard them. We're trying to get them to that point as quick as possible where they have the data and access to the data to make better decisions, to make more money.
Yeah, and I think, we see it often enough where the businesses do see that there's an element of risk in terms of going all in from day one. Yeah. Which is where we can see businesses pilot just having that marketing solution for that first piece, and then looking at it as incremental phases to then bring that all into one single source of truth, simplifying that tech stack, eliminating the manual work across all of the sort of funnel. And then ultimately you've got that better data for decision making and then scalability. So it's not a case of you have to go all in straight away. You can do that in increments. And often that's normally, well, it's the way that HubSpot's models worked over all of these years. They've had that freemium model, which is, it gets you to a certain point, and then obviously you want to buy the starter or the professional, and then you're in one hub, you then get across multi-hub. It's a great model, and it's a great way to do it. And I think just on this point of how you can prove the value of HubSpot as well right now, they changed their pricing model in March this year. So now it is actually quite cheap to be able to procure the sales or the service solution of HubSpot with just one seat. You can then pilot that program before essentially moving the wider sales or services teams into that model. So there's absolutely areas to do this, which can be very cost-effective solutions for the business, so that you can pilot it, you can have that proof of concept, or even getting to the point of seeing what the art of possible is through some customized demos through either ourselves or HubSpot themselves directly. So some
Hugh,
really things. Yeah.
in relation to that, then, question for you, because obviously one of like you've touched on it there. One of the objections we sometimes get about it is the right time. When's the right time?
Yeah. Yeah. Look. I suppose in every organization, and we're probably guilty of this ourselves, Adam, is everybody's busy doing the day job. And everybody's normally on their way to trying to achieve some sort of financial target or business goal. And often projects such as moving from one CRM platform to another CRM, or even just looking at, okay, do we look at how we move our service piece from one system to another system, can be seen as a distraction. But I think ultimately what I would consider and where you've got to get to is, what's the cost of inaction? So what's the cost of not doing anything? And one thing that always sticks with me was, I got told this in inbound 2020 or 2022, was cost of inaction is so huge because you can get left behind.
Yeah.
So if there are softwares out there, or if there are things and you ignore them, your competition can get ahead of you.
Yeah.
So what is the cost of not doing that right now? And we're now seeing that in this AI world, right? So it's not a case of I'm going gung-ho, I have to use every single AI tool that there is. It's about, well, how can this be beneficial for our business? Taking that step back and then saying, right, how do we test? How do we then optimize? How do we then figure out this is the best part of our organization? Because there are so many different tools out there that can support you and your business's scalability, but without having somebody objectively looking at it, the business will cease to grow up to a certain point.
Definitely. And what about that second point then? Because I guess sometimes, particularly on the implementation, I mean, I think we see that quite a lot, don't we? It's like, oh, we've won a big argument to get the software, but I haven't won the argument to get the full level of investment on implementation.
Yeah, look, we see that daily. I think that the pricing objection is a really funny one, because out of the box, any SaaS product that you buy is going to work to some extent. It's going to do something for your organization. But what was the reason why you procured it? It was for the art of possible. It's for designing something that's specific to your needs.
Yeah.
Every organization is subtly very different, or largely very different. It's subtly and largely very different. So you need something that's designed for your organization. It's all good buying something off the shelf, but then how's that actually going to help you achieve what your goals are? It's not going to have the properties that you require. It's not going to have your sales process that you require. It's not going to have all of these bells and whistles that you don't even know about yet. So that's where an organization such as us, and this is where I think implementation is so critical and fundamental. And I think if you consider any sort of SaaS-based product, you should be thinking, well, this is our pricing plan. What does our onboarding pricing plan look like? And the sooner you figure that out, the better that you'll have that total cost of ownership. And it goes back to your point as well, is what's the total cost of ownership of this software? So with HubSpot, the benefit is, well, as part of the license fee, you get ongoing support. So therefore, there might not be a need for the agency to have that. But if, there's pros and cons. So there's definitely some sheets that you can work off to identify and help you evaluate those processes.
Definitely. And I would say as well, on implementation, don't miss the opportunity to do things better. So you get these customers sometimes, they go, I just got such a tiny budget for implementation. I'm just going to have to lift and shift. What do you mean? I'm going to have to just do what we did over there and do it over here. Well, that's a real lost opportunity to redesign your sales process and maybe make it better, make it faster, make it more enjoyable for the customer. So that's another one I hear a lot. Hugh, we're out of time really. In terms of next steps, I think obviously we're here to talk to anybody about making that decision. I'm not sure if there's any questions, but people can feel free to send us questions. And we've also got an ebook that goes into this sort of subject a little bit more detail, which everyone will get. So the idea of that is for you, if you're trying to procure HubSpot, to use that to frame the arguments and put the business case to the people that are going to spend money on it. So hopefully that was helpful. If you are looking to make the business case, best of luck. And hopefully you can win that argument and implement HubSpot for your business. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.